Hello, everyone. I'm Plasma Warriors. May like to call me that guy with the afro. Okay, so before I begin this video properly, let me give you full disclosure. Yes, originally with the one that was supposed to happen in Las Vegas, I was to be this gaming staff head of that HentaiCon. It did not pan through, did not happen, but I have no ill will against any convention except for Anime Matsuri at this point, anywhere, anytime. I moved on from Japan, that is true, only because, how's it going, Black Civil and Civil Diamond? Got a video going on. Only because I was willing to move away from that and go to Dragon Con. After that, I was just done, and I'm moving on in that example. But when it comes to this Hentai Con, I have nothing against them. I have no ill will. I want nothing more than them to succeed. So let's get that out of the way. So on October 7th, 2019, HentaiCon announced that it was going to cancel due to some technical issues with their convention. Now, let me make it very clear. I don't know the full details, okay? I don't understand all of it. All I know is I'm getting the same information that a lot of people are outside of the con. So I'm not an insider like I would be at other conventions. This is a completely different universe than I'm used to. So I'll give you an official statement. And while it does somewhat make sense, there's something that gives me a red flag. You can go ahead and see it in the link, but I'll read it here. Burbank, California, October 5th, 2019. Now, today I found out the information. That's 2 days after. Oh boy, that's a red flag there. Only because of the timing. Due to extreme technical adversaries and circumstances beyond our ability to tame, we have painfully concluded to cancel Delta HCon at the Burbank Marriott November 1st to 3rd, 2019. The causes for this collusion rests chiefly with one of our third-party data service providers and compatibility issues with our venue. Okay, so that's basically what they're saying is the reason. All the rest of it is fair about how they're going to refund information, whether you should go, all that detail. They have a different venue and service provider lined up for next year. So all that's been handled kind of like, okay, that's all there. You can read that part up. But basically it's saying we don't have the IT infrastructure to do this. Now, got me to thinking a few things. First off, I give them a little credit where credit is due. It's a month out from the convention. If this were any closer, it'd be very hard to get cancellations and stuff dealt with. Some people have already made travel plans that they can't cancel. I do that a lot, but you can always look and find something else to do. Even when the convention can, it's a lot harder to work off of. But there's not much you can do about it personally. You just got to make the most of what you do have, which is a fine point. Also, I think this is one of the worst times to cancel, only because this is year number 2. It's like this. The first year of a convention usually is a feeling out process. What you've learned, what you have to deal with, keep it small, and then grow over the base from that. This is something that a lot of conventions learn very quickly, is that year 1 should never be a big explosion. RIP or SuriCon. Excuse me. Year number 2 is now you're getting your name out there. You're putting in some kind of situation that you're going to have a lot more to deal with, and a lot more people want to see if this is going to be something to go to or not. Generally speaking, this is more critical than year 1 because now you're trying to get yourself a base. So when canceling at year 2 is not the best time to cancel. This is going to hurt HentaiCon. I don't think you will outright kill it because there's not very much happening in the words of hentai around. But the timing is also pretty bad. It's early November. I don't know. A lot of people in Texas won't be able to go. I know that much. You've got Alamo City Comic Con and Onicon back to back. So that's a tough one. But the most important part about year 2, besides all that, is now you're looking and seeing, is this going to be a good proof of concept for the future. You're trying not only to build a base, but you're trying to give your name out there, yes, but now you're trying to drive in people. You're trying to get more than just a base. You're trying to get advertisers, you're trying to get vendors, you're trying to get artists, you're trying to get cosplayers. They want to see what you have to offer. This is the year your money has to start growing, not just the amount of people, but a general idea of, yes, I've seen that, by the way, Black and Silver Diamond. There's a lot of people trying to understand if you are indeed producing what you have to give. And if you're not able to do that by year 3, which is like the 3-episode anime test, people keep saying, and start making a profit, that's when you have a problem. So the 3rd year, I believe they're going to be able to do this pretty well. They already have the venue secure. I think they're going to be very fine. But this is what really concerns me, is that they have a third-party group doing all this IT work. And this is something they can actually do legal action against because it doesn't quite work. But no, I won't get into all that. That's a lot more over my head that I really want to get to. The reason why this bothers me a little bit is that having these issues a month away from the convention tells me they didn't really plan for the long haul. You know, they didn't plan for this year back in August. And please do not mistake me. I have nothing against HentaiCon. I really don't. But this is the kind of stuff you iron out months ahead of time. And even more so, the scheduling that you should already have is in place by now. You should know they're talking about how panelist scheduling could be an issue. That should already be in place. People should already know at least somewhat of what they're doing. It's a month out from when the con date happens. By this point, you have to have the schedule almost in stone. And you can have a little bit of flexibility, but 80 to 90% of your scheduling has to be set by then. You have to have the vendors ready to go. You have to have the guests in an idea of what they're going to be doing. And that's another thing. I have to be a question mark about this. I know hentai is pretty much dead in the United States. Don't think Hentai Haven did anything to save it, or fuck who's going to help. It's been dying since the mid-2000s, and it pretty much became a black market. I could do a case study on hentai alone. I won't get into that. But this is what concerns me. Where's the buzz for this convention, actually? I mean, the data stuff seems a little sketchy to me, but who's actually driving the con? Who's actually trying to get this to be going forward? Now, I will offer my services for this convention if they want them. I won't lie about that. I would gladly help them. The only issue I have is so close to OniCon, I don't know if I can actually make it to HentaiCon. It's a bit of a darn it, I don't know. But I think in general, that's the bigger issue. The one thing that concerned me more than this post is that they never mentioned something else. I looked through this and I don't see any mention of guests. I see vendors, I see panelists, I see artists, but where are the guests on this? What is going on with the people who are supposed to get paid to be there? Nobody knows. Nobody's told me a single guest from HentaiCon, and that's my big issue. They're growing pretty steadily, and that's a good thing. Growth for a convention is amazing. Tell that to Delta HCon when you're at it. But seriously, though, I'm concerned that there's no face of the convention. I don't know who the con chair is particularly. At least I knew who the con chair was about HentaiCon Las Vegas. If that would ever happen. But I don't know who is actually trying to be the star. Now, let me make it very clear. I don't believe HentaiCon is dead, but now it's kind of on life support to a point to where I'm worried about it. You know, albeit what happened with all the other cons in Houston aside, at least they had a face. They had somebody there to make good or bad of it for the most part. Comic Palooza, well, they City Houston runs it. Delta HCon, Sarah Zabiak, yeah, could be very much her own face. OniCon, it's Greg Ayers, as bad of a DJ as he is. Generally speaking, though, when you don't have a star for your convention or somebody who will advocate for your con, that's a problem. I do not see that with HentaiCon, and that's what's concerning me. Not just because of the data information. Who is the star? Who's the guy or girl who was willing to help you? I'm being very honest when I say this. Would you ever think about having the cosplay deviants or Geek Goddess or the Pixel Vixens in your con? We did. We thought of that. They were our first guest announcement if we were to make it launch. Heck yes, I would say, could you do this? Could you do this gaming set? I would love it if they did. I want my guests to be able to say, hey, I'm going to at least look and help this con. When you don't have that, that's a problem. So year number 2 will be next year, but who are they going to bring in that makes them a star? You're not going to have any conventions ever that just work based on what they do internally. And that's a sad reality. Remember when I said conventions don't pay for themselves? Well, they don't seem to advertise well either nowadays. And they need to start doing that, or they're probably not going to get many people to go to the cons. Speaking of going to a convention, now that I'm done with my usual chit chat, my next convention will be OniCon, Friday, November 8th through Sunday, November 10th. However, I don't know if I said this out loud. I think I did in my Delta HCon review. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. And I'm going to do this fashionable style with my cola. I would like to say that this is my brother's first convention next month. And yes, he's been wanting to go for years. As a con veteran myself, I remember my first OniCon. Thank you to that hotel that shut everything down at 2 in the morning. Horror story right there, folks. At least it wasn't the con's fault. I'll blame the con when it's rightfully due. But to be very fair, those of you who want to see the Plasma Warrior line of insanity, we'll see you at OniCon next year. And this year. And every year I can possibly make it. Honestly, it's my home con. I have to go, and that's probably why I have a problem with HentaiCon. So, raise a glass to my boy, MP Cowboy. That's for you, bro. So, I hope HentaiCon succeeds. I really want this convention to do well. I have nothing against it. I would like to see it improve, and I hope it does. But until then, until next year when we actually get to see it again, I don't know, guys. I mean, if you want, I can give you Jessica Nova's contact info. She's a friend of mine. Maybe you can work something out. In any case, until next time, later.